Welcome in, Warchant TV. I'm Jeff Cameron. That is the founder and administrator of Warchant, of course, Gene Williams. And we didn't want to have to do this to break in early before the game, before the pregame and all of this, Gene. But obviously the conversation has changed. Florida State getting the news that Brock Glenn is going to have to start the game this evening. Tate Rodemaker is out. Brock Glenn is in. And I think that just begs the question, Gene. First of all, I'll start, let's just talk about it. Would you pick Louisville at this point?
I have to. I think I do, Jeff. And I've had a bad feeling, and it's gotten worse during the week. I thought I picked FSU early on, and it's not just. It just seems like the weather's not great in Charlotte. It just a lot of things just have a bad vibe about it right now. And here's the thing. Here's the reason what I get worried about. I don't know if you're aware of this. Florida State leads the nation in number one category in the NCAA, and that's turnovers lost. They are only giving up 5 turnovers all season, Jeff. But that's the thing. We all love the backup quarterback, and it's so exciting. And Brock Glenn's got so much potential. I think he's got a good chance to be the starter next year.
I do too.
But one of the things that is just not talked about when you put a rookie quarterback in a game like this, and maybe not the best conditions, it's right against a good defense. You're ripe for turnovers. And I don't know Brock Glenn can get through this game turnover free. And that scares the crap out of me. So at this point, I would have to shift my pick to Louisville. I mean, probably by about a field goal at this point.
I already had it as a very close game, a one-score game. Anyhow, I think most of us did here at Warchant. And, it's interesting. Everywhere we've been, Gene, here in Charlotte, and that's where I'm at right now, obviously, with the guys from Warchant, everybody comes up, is Brock going to play? Is Brock going to play? But the number one question after that is, what can he do? What does he know? And we don't know what he knows. He missed time with an injury this year. We do know that. So that impeded his development. It's a kid that was obviously rocketing up the depth chart to the point where we all kind of thought for sure he's definitely the second string quarterback now, passing Duffy. And he has got a lot of talent, as you mentioned, but he's never started a football game in college. And you're going to ask this kid to come in and play in a championship game at night, possibly pouring rain against a good Louisville team, a well-coached team. It is hard to imagine that he's going to be able to handle that without some, bumps in the road. You're right. Turnover is a real distinct possibility. He's not lacking confidence. We should tell our listeners and viewers that he does not lack confidence. I mean, he's a confident kid, a cocky kid, and he's a strong kid. My guess is, Gene, the effect on the game, if people are wondering what it's going to look like, ton of RPOs, and he'll pull it. He'll run. He's a guy that absolutely you'll see read option, RPO, and, let him read one side of the field. If it's not there, take off.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. I think if FSU does win the game, it's going to be because of Brock Glenn's legs. He can pass. You got Keon Coleman, you got Johnny Wilson, you got Shaheem Bell. There's some elite talent. I think another game plan they should do is get those guys on easy routes, one read. If they're not there, throw it away or run. I mean, simplify this situation for him, but also on those. We've seen a lot with Jordan this year, and with Tate in the Florida game, there was more times it seemed like they could have run on those read options, and they didn't do it. To your point, Jeff, I think you've nailed it. He's probably going to lean the other way where when those situations, he's not sure where that end's going to go. You know what? I'm going to run the damn thing. And that might be good because if they're looking at film, Louisville this season, Florida State doesn't do that very often.
Yeah, they rarely pull it. And it's there. It's been there several times. And I understand why they were hesitant to do so, but I think you're right. Brock will take off. If anything, they're going to have to tell him, no, you got to hand that to Trey.
We don't want you getting hurt too. There's not much left.
At this point, let it all hang out. You got nothing to lose. I will say this. Any pressure that Florida State may have felt to try to complete this undefeated campaign, win the ACC Championship, all of that, I don't know how you still feel that pressure. You're on to your third string quarterback. Not that you're looking for an excuse, but that's a reality. You're at your third string quarterback. Who can expect you to win this football game in this situation? Let it fly, man. Have fun with it. I mean, I think that Brock will run a lot if he plays tonight. If that's indeed what's going to happen here, I think they'll have to get him into the game, running him, rolling him out. One read, it's there, throw it, not take off, and go from there. And hope your defense can continue to play great. I mean, that's the other side of this, Gene. This defense, I understand they've played a lot of backup quarterbacks, but they've been very consistent. They've adjusted very well to opposing teams' run game. If they can slow down the run tonight against Louisville, I don't believe that Plummer is that great a passer. I mean, he doesn't have a cannon for an arm, and this has been a very good secondary. So you can still lean on your defense here. And the irony of this, obviously, as we started this year thinking about this offense perhaps being the best in the country, and now as they come across the finish line, we're happy to help that Adam Fuller's unit is the one that leads the way.
I mean, you're starting to make me think a little bit. Maybe Florida State might win this game. Can I change my pick again? I'm going back and forth. But you got me thinking though. If they can weather the storm in the first half, and they go into the fourth quarter, you're right. Especially the way that defense has played in the second half, Jeff. And I have no reason to think it wouldn't continue.
Right.
The defense has gotten stronger and stronger throughout games. So if they're in this game in the fourth quarter, and Brock Glenn has weathered that storm and not crap the bed out there, and he gains confidence in this thing, then I kind of like FSU seeing thing. My concern is, again, early on, will there be some jitters, some turnovers? Will the defense feel too much pressure because they feel like they have to win the game? But no, Florida State's got the tools to do this. This is where you wish, and the one weakness we've talked about, I know you've talked about on the Jeff Cameron show all season, is that inability to run the football. If you had the running attack you had last year, I would feel so much better about this game, because this is a game in those conditions with a rookie quarterback. If you can lean on that running game, then I feel much better. I don't think it's something you can rely on, though.
They're going to have to see if they found something late in that Florida game, Gene. They just decided to maul Florida late. They had a 3 tight end set. They were running duo up the middle. They were allowing Trey to kind of take his time and then jump cut. You make one guy miss and then run the rest over if you can, or run away from him. I don't know that they can afford to do what we wanted them to do earlier this year, which was spread it out and throw it. I don't think you do that in this situation. You have to hope that you can play great defense, keep it close. One thing that we do know, and this is one of the reasons that I think so many Florida State fans absolutely adore this team besides the winning, it's the toughness. When they're in the game late, they find a way. They make plays. They do it on both offense and defense. It's the clutch throw, the clutch catch, the big run from Trey Benson. It's the big defensive stop late. It's the strip sack. It's all these things. Yeah, get us to the fourth quarter tonight, right? Mm-hmm. Get us to the fourth quarter and let this be close. There's not a man over there on Florida State's team that won't think that they're going to win the game, because they have. Every time they've been pushed to the brink, they've won.
Yeah, that's going to be an interesting thing to watch this. You're just like, I think in the first half, you're just going to be sitting there going, don't screw this up. Don't screw this up. Just keep them in the game and let things play out. So, yeah, I mean, it's a lot of pressure on Mike Norvell or Adam Fuller's defense here. Here's the thing, Jeff, I'm also curious before we talk about go any further, knock this off. So FSU, let's have fun with it. Let's say they do win.
Yeah.
And let's go to that Tuesday committee thing. To me, this is an even stronger argument. It shows that Florida State is not a one-man team. If they go to Gainesville, beat them with a backup, and then your third string, you're able to beat what's Louisville, 14 or whatever in the rankings right now. Okay, quality team under these conditions with your third string quarterback. This goes back to Ohio State in 2014. I mean, it's a great team. Maybe you had a great quarterback, but maybe it's a great all-around team. They should take that into account.
I think also if you're undefeated, Power 5, conference champion, that's it. We're done. I don't care what it looks like. Look, there's a difference between best and deserving and all of that, but we know you do not want to set a precedent. When an undefeated Florida State goes 13-0, wins the ACC, plays 2 SEC teams out of conference, wins on the road at Clemson, and you're going to lay them out and put a one-loss team in over them? You really can't do it. I mean, where are we at in college football if that's the case? You really can't do it. This is not an FCS team. This is not a mid-major. This is Florida State, who went out of conference and scheduled LSU in back-to-back years, won both those games. Florida State's defense is the only defense to shut LSU down this year. To your point, it's not a one-man show.
Yeah,
they have to put them in.
And if the committee did that, I would say, well, scrap the committee, just go with Vegas. If you're going to say the best team, whoever's favored to win each game, then just let Vegas decide. Then I mean, they might have a 2-loss SEC team. Well, whatever. It doesn't matter. They lost those games. They would be favored over the undefeated team. So we're going to put them in. But that's not what, to your point, Jeff. That's not what college football is about. You're Power 5. You go undefeated. You should have a shot for the whole thing. Or these teams, we see this all the time. I mean, these teams wouldn't be in that should be in. We're all going to be there covering this, of course, for Warchant. Ira will be there. Aslan will be there. Corey will be there. I will be there. We've got this covered every which way to Sunday. Pre-game show, Tom and myself. Post-game show, you and Tom, obviously, Gene. Look forward to it, of course. But for now, the news again, Brock Glenn starting tonight in place of Tate Rodemaker. Stick it right here, warchant.com, Warchant TV. We'll have tons of updates as they become available. And obviously, pre-game and post-game, we'll have all the Florida State coverage you could possibly want. For Gene Williams, I'm Jeff Cameron from Charlotte. We'll talk again soon. Be good, everybody. Go Noles.